Demi Mcconkie, and in this video I want to offer you a distinction that will hopefully help you create more insights for your life. And when I talk about an insight, all I mean is all an insight is a new thought. It's a thought you haven't thought before. But when you have insights around life, they have a tendency to be rather life-changing. You know, it's the world looks one way, and then we have a new thought that has us see it differently. And when you change the way you see the world, your world can literally change. And the distinction I want to offer you for this is a distinction of exploring versus studying. So if I were to study something, I'm going to assume that there's a right way and a wrong way. There's a fact that I want to study and really learn and take that fact in and know it. Versus exploring is really that I don't really have an agenda. There's not a right or a wrong way to do it. If you were going to explore a city, a new city, you'd walk out of your hotel room and you'd start wandering, and you'd go down any street that you felt so inclined to do, and you might see a cafe that interested you, or a restaurant, or a shop, and you'd go in there and you'd explore a little bit more if it was interesting. And you'd stay until you were satisfied, and then you'd leave and you'd wander on some more. And so the distinction of kind of studying versus exploring is really useful when we are wanting to see more about how to change our life, right? Because, usually when something isn't going the way we want in life, we have a tendency as humans to look externally to solve the problem. Like if we have a tendency to think that our circumstances are causing the problems. It's part of the human condition that we're in. It's part of what we've inherited. I call survival patterns, is this pattern to feel more comfortable and safe if we're right. And if I'm right, somebody has to be wrong. So when something in my life isn't going right, I'm going to look externally to who's wrong out there to solve and fix them, so that I can change my experience that way. And that works like 0% of the time. Like 100% of the time when we go about it that way, we're going to be stuck. And that's because you're fighting a universal law, and that is the law of cause and effect. The law of cause and effect states that I am the cause of every effect of my life. So everything that I'm experiencing in my life I'm the cause of it. And this is really difficult to see because given the monkey suit that we're in, part of this inherited human condition that we're in is really based around fear. And part of that fear has us seeing ourselves as right and looking externally to solve the problem. So when you want to see this kind of an insight, it can be sometimes kind of tricky to do because so much of our tendency is to look in the other direction. And when we approach looking for insights like this, it's like, my daughter is driving me crazy. She's not obedient. She doesn't listen. What am I going to do about her? If I am looking to fix her so that I can feel better about my parenting, then it's never going to work. I might get temporary relief, but it's never going to be long-term peace of mind and really like long-term change. But if I look more internally, then I might be able to see something that I haven't seen before. So I'll give you an example. My husband and I got married almost 6 years ago now, and we brought our families together. So we brought the kids together. He brought 2, I brought 1. And I was immediately surprised that our kids and our family wasn't blending to look like Mayberry. I thought when the family came to get together, we'd be having game night, family home evening, we'd be singing in the kitchen while we cooked together, and it didn't look at all like that. And I got very frustrated, and I started putting a lot of pressure on my husband to help me get the kids in the roles and have them show up the way that they wanted to. And when that wasn't working, I gave more and more pressure to my husband to show up the way I wanted him to show up. But I didn't see any of this that I was doing. And finally, one day I had an insight. when I sat a little bit stiller and I got a little bit quieter, I saw, and you know, I got curious. How am I the cause of this? And in the stillness, I saw that I was manipulating my husband. There was something that didn't feel safe to me about how the family was showing up. There was conflict, there was tension. There wasn't that peace and that harmony that I wanted to experience in my home. And I was trying to manipulate my husband to do what I thought he needed to do to get me what I thought I needed. And what I started to see is that I was putting so much pressure on him that I was suffocating his authentic desire to show up in joy and love for the family. He had no space to do that. I mean, I don't like doing anything when I'm expected to do something. Why did I think he would, right? And the thing about an insight like this is that, you know, it's the thing that's interesting is that, you know, it's obvious when we see it, but it's blind to us until we do. And this is how that insight was for me. And so I offer this kind of like, but if I were to attack that problem, like studying it, trying to figure out the problem, and I did several times. I tried to figure it out and study it, and what's the problem to this? Let me fix it. It just has me kind of trying to solve the problem from the problem and looking externally. But exploring creates more spaciousness. When there's no right or wrong and there's no agenda or no destination to get to, it gives a little bit more spaciousness for us to be able to start to see higher truths. And the life-changing insights are always going to be the ones where a higher truth melts sort of our subconscious lies. You see, our subconscious uses these lies like, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm stupid. It uses these kinds of lies to hold us into these behavioral patterns that are keeping us getting what we think we need. You know, things like acceptance, approval, validation, recognition, praise. Those are the things that our subconscious thinks we need, and these survival patterns keep us getting those. But it's these lies that keep us from seeing truth. And when you have an insight that into a deeper truth, it has a tendency to just kind of melt those lies. And when it does, you're no longer beholden to those patterns that are keeping you experiencing the same thing over again. The law of cause and effect is you are the cause to every effect of your life. If you want to change effect, you have to change cause. So if I think that the cause to my effect is external circumstances, if I think the stress I'm experiencing is because of my bank account balance, or the sadness and disappointment is because of what my spouse isn't doing, or my anger and frustration is because of a team member, like if I think that, then I'm going to remain stuck. I can change the relationship, I can replace my husband, I can replace a team member, but if I don't change the cause, the new husband, the new team member, I'm just going to experience the same pattern with them. Different flavor, different name. And so the insights that you want to be able to explore more of are those insights for those higher truths that will help you see the true cause. And so I want to offer you, if there's a place in your life, an area in your life that you would like to have fresh, new thinking around, to see something new, to have a thought that you've never thought before that changes the way you see something around it. And insights don't have to be trumpets and confetti. All they are is a simple truth that's a little truer than what you were seeing before. If there's an area that you're like that you want to explore that, I want to offer you 3 ways to explore. The first one is journal. Grab a pen and paper. There's something about journaling and writing, head to pen to paper, that activates the brain, that produces more clarity. So it's a great way to explore. The next is to grab an exploration buddy. If you do this, grab a friend who isn't going to buy into believing that external circumstances are causing your experience. You want to get a buddy that understands a little bit more of where experience really comes from, really understands some of these universal laws and principles. And the third, if you don't have a buddy like that, is hire a coach. And maybe, all 3 are great ways to do too. inside of all three of these offerings, I want to give you four intentions to bring into them, that if you bring these intention to any one or all three of these exploration ideas, you're going to get a lot more out of it. So the first one is to bring high doses of curiosity. The more curiosity I bring, to my coaching sessions, the more I get out of it. And curiosity is the thing that will help you get the most insights. If you think about when you're exploring a new town, like there's just a high level of curiosity. You can't do it wrong. There's nothing to do right, nowhere to go. It's just letting your curiosity lead you. So that's the first intention that I offer. The second is that you let go of any agenda of right or wrong. Just completely let go, and notice if you have any of that showing up, and just continue to let it go. Ideas of right and wrong will just zap the curiosity. So let that go. The third is that you explore inside of, the cause and effect, that you understand that you are the cause. And so that you're not looking, the place you don't want to explore is how to change external circumstances. You're only looking inward to explore. And the fourth is that inside of that exploration, you're always exploring towards higher truths. Ask your self, what are some of the questions I ask myself when I'm really wanting to see more truth around something is, what do I not want to see about this situation? What is just as true or truer that I really kind of don't want to see? And I always tell my clients when we're exploring and we really want to see that truth that will set you free, it's what is the dirty, stinking, rotten truth? And the dirty, stinking, rotten truth, it always sets you free, because it's that thing that some lie is holding so tight in your subconscious that it's able to use that to control your behavioral patterns. And when you see it, it no longer can. So explore this. If you get stuck, reach out, get some support. Reach out to me if you want to explore working with me. Reach out to a buddy and have fun. I have a dear friend who always says to me, always never take yourself too seriously. And you can have a lot of fun with this. I always say the last stage in transformation is laughter, like laughing at our humanity. It will keep us always never taking ourselves too seriously. So we'll keep looking and keep gaining these insights that can really continue expanding our life and creating more and more freedom and more joy and more happiness. Happy exploring. Namaste.